How grateful I am inside of that truth to be here with you today. I'm so grateful that I get to be amongst other truth seekers, that this room is filled with those that are hungry for the truth. How grateful I am in this moment to know there is only one power. There is only one presence, the all-knowing, all-powerful mind of God that's everywhere present. It is the truth of every man, woman, and child. And I recognize that in spite of what it looks like, that's all that's ever going on. I don't care who's in office. I don't care who sits in the cabinet. God is only having a greater experience of itself, of himself, of herself. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful to know that we are right where we need to be, in the presence, moving and living and having our being in that space. How grateful I am to realize that it is all that ever was, it is all that ever is, it is all that ever will be. It is the undercurrent. It is how we live and move and have our being. And I am so grateful for that realization. And I'm thankful to know that that's all there is. That's all that ever will be. And I release that into the universe, into this right now moment, to continue to fulfill itself. And so it is. Thank you, Ashley, and your accompanying gentlemen, for the beautiful flow this morning. And good morning. It might sound like I'm losing my voice, but I'm finding my voice. So if you can move beyond that, I would like you to stay present with me. A true story. A couple of years ago, my daughter came to my bedside and she said, "Mom, I'm leaving in May. When are you leaving?" Did I not teach my daughter about commitment? Where did I miss it? What's going on? Are we really having this conversation? I catch my breath. I give my TED talk on commitment. She listens patiently. And she looks at me in my eye and says, "And commitment isn't suicide." I took a deep breath, recognizing this is the moment that I must embrace the reality that I've been denying for a long time. We know that everything has a season. And the death in my mind and my heart of a 26-year commitment. Wow. I thought it was a lifetime. I gave everything to make it work. Yet I didn't pay attention. Oh, yes, I did. But I was going to do it Gina's way. I was going to make it happen. It was a commitment for a lifetime. Yet it was dying. What do you do with that? What do you do with the struggles in your life? What do you do when life unravels and it's not like you planned? It's not happening like you thought. The storms are raging. Unlike cows who run away from the storm, buffalo get together and they move into the storm. So today, I want to talk about the spirit of the buffalo and how, in spite of what's going on out there, the undercurrent that's living and moving and having our being in and through us is always out to accomplish one thing, a greater expression of itself. We're not called to fulfill the prescription of society. We're not. And however you thought it was going to look, it's not going to look that way. I promise you. Why? Because what is it going to take to bring us to own the sacred significance of who we are? Not what we drive, not who we're married to, not the shoes we wear or the clothes we wear. There's a bigger game going on here. And some of you think, "Oh, well, I've been there, done that." Listen, right now is the moment for you to awaken to a greater expression of who you are. And so as we begin to embrace that reality and come into the knowing of a deeper relationship with that inner realization of who we really are. I'm not this flesh. It's not who I am. Now, we know that theoretically, but it's on the court that we walk it out. It's day in and day out. After the kids have left home, who are we then? We've retired from the job. Who are we then? We're moving through life. It's a now process, day in, day out. Are you with me? Let's take a deep breath. Just right where you are right where you need to be. Right where the unfolding is. So how do we begin to own our sacred significance that when we walk into a room, we can quietly own that wherever I am, God is. Like, know it, like we know it. Maybe I don't fit in, but I know that wherever I go, God is. We begin to embrace that. We begin to see with spiritual eyes. Do you know you don't need eyes to see? How do the blind make it? I have friends who are masters in their craft and they're blind, but they have vision. So what is the vision you have for your life? Not to become successful according to what society says. Get a house. What's left? The ever unfolding of the infinite, the invisible expression of who God is as you. There's more. Tell your neighbor, there's more. There's more to the unfolding. There's more to who you are as we can begin to embrace that. We can begin to expand in that. What does that look like? When you think of something expanding, it's a greater version of itself. So none of us have arrived for where we're going. We're expanding. We're evolving. What does that look like? To go from humanity, from the understanding of who mom and them raised and who you were going to be in life, what role you were going to fill, what job you were going to have, to that space of owning your divinity. That process is called transformation. And it takes a spiritual wardrobe to do that. Yes, a spiritual wardrobe, like spiritual eyes, a spiritual discipline, not like business as usual. What does that look like? It's a constant state of evolving, like taking my life on. And let me tell you how you know you're not finished. That when you walk out of these doors, you're walking into maybe, I don't know what life is unfolding for you right now. But if it's not fitting your idea of what you thought it should be, you're in the perfect place. Because God's plans maybe be a little different from yours. Our plans are not God's plans. And the only obligation we have is to fulfill the will of God. Well, what is that? Well, I can promise you there's a greater dimension for you to evolve into within you. Sure, the flesh is dying, but day by day you can be renewed in your inner man. This light affliction, the greater weight of glory, it's worth it. So what does that look like? Where do you need to come into in your understanding to be able to ride this thing out? Who would have ever thought? I took on marriage as a commitment for a lifetime. When my plans didn't work, guess what? I literally thought I was going to die. Literally. Everything about my life went there. And then I realized it was an idol in my life. God said, I'll have no other gods before me. But guess what? It brought me to the awareness that the wife role I played was simply that, a role. Mother, a role. All the titles are just a role. It brought me to the awakening of that inner realization of who I am in God. So it's been the greatest gift in my life. Imagine that. Imagine that. So what is it for you? What's unraveling that will allow you to go deep within you, to find your sacred significance, to presence that? That energy that's flowing through you, the greater expression of who God is. I went along to get along. Being in a high-profile marriage, I wanted to be politically correct. And a strong woman, I didn't want to appear to be going against the grain. So as a result, I'm now finding my voice. The game has just begun. My life is just beginning. So what's unraveling in your life that didn't fit the plan? Think about it. We all have goals. Goals, G-O-A-L. The greater opportunity to awaken to life. That's what a goal is in the spiritual realm. For me, that's what I've made it to mean. How do you make life fit in what's unfolding? Find your greater significance. Embrace it. Then begin to expand in it. And it may not fit in society, what society says. It may not look that way. Being a leader in a church, who does that? Well, that's how it unraveled for me. And trust me, as a transformational coach, I thought I had the answer. I could transform through anything. Okay, well now let's put that to the test. With the seeming unraveling plans, it's perfect. Take a deep breath. Knowing it's perfect. Now I'm whispering, so I don't sound like I'm yelling at you. I'm still trying to modulate and find it here. Oh, I will be heard. And I'm learning how loud the silence is. Yes. How are you walking it out? That's the key. What's transforming in your life? What needs to transform? And some of you are thinking, oh, no, she knows nothing about that. Oh, no, we're not talking about that today. Oh, yeah, that's right there. Whatever is Spirit bringing up for you, right there. It's not too late. It's just the beginning. Just the beginning. What does that look like now? What is the demonstration of what you know to be true? How do you demonstrate that? That's what time it is. What's the expression of all that knowledge you have? Honestly, the season has been so difficult to digest that I've had issues digesting my food. So that's what some of this is. And I still won't be quiet. When Anne-Marie called me, I knew I was having this. And I wouldn't dare say no. It was an opportunity to walk it out. Are you getting what I'm saying? Can you hear me? I'm glad I came. Thanks for having me. What is it? What's the potential? What's emerging through you? What is it that's emerging through you? That's all the challenges reveal. That there's a greater expression coming forth through you. Nobody can tell you how to walk it out. You got to get on the court and decide, you and God, how we're going to work this out. You don't need a committee. You and God are the majority. It just takes a willingness and understanding that the expression of God, the emanation of who God is you. And it's not going to look like your neighbor's looks. It's not. Trust me, I know. I tried to fit in. I wanted to do it right. There was a right way to do it. And I suffered feeling like I failed. But you know what I know? When you give your everything and you're faced with a challenge like this, it's time for promotion. So what works for me is I got promoted from being a pastor's wife. I grew up Catholic. You give everything. I saw my mom raise 9 kids and stayed committed to a man who beat her. She had to walk her walk. Who knows what beliefs she had? I realized I had some of those same beliefs. He wasn't beating me, so I thought I could work it out. What does it take? Come on, really? So keep giving your best. Keep knowing nothing is lost. I have not one regret. I only know how to play life full out, 1,000%. So what's next? God, what are you doing through me? Now, it takes putting aside shame, judgment, even the self-judgment, criticism. You got to walk it out. So I'm encouraging you, come back into the game of life. Begin to own your sacred significance. That's what it's all been coming to, the evolution of. And then walk that out. How do you expand in that? How do you embrace the season you're in and evolve and expand through that? That's what time it is. So you're in the right place at the right time. And just know this, nothing happens. Anything that's happening in life is all happening for your highest good. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you, to up-level you in your consciousness, to up-level you in your thought process. Listen, the universe responds to a vibration, the vibration of your thoughts, the vibration of your intentions. So where are your thoughts? Where are your intentions? You can't possibly be a failure. Nothing is wrong in your life. You're at the greatest opportunity to be the fullest expression of who you are. And I invite you to join me into that game. Yes, and begin to take on owning your sacred significance. Embrace who it is that you are. Deepen that inner realization. When Jesus walked, it was his vibration that healed the woman that just wanted to touch his garment. Just if I could touch it. Her faith healed her. It's a vibration. It's not a position. A vibration. So you're right where you need to be. Know that you're loved. And know that God is only having a greater experience of itself with the emanation called you. Amen. Amen.